in my contract, he wasn't supposed to come in so heavy. He came in fighting. Now he was way, way bigger, and maybe he did IVs. I don't know. I can't prove that, but he was way bigger. And basically, Ryan did the same thing to him. The same thing he did to me, Ryan did the same thing to him.
Here we are with Regis PROGRAIS, or like we say here in Argentina, El Lobizón, former WBC super lightweight champ, a cruel warrior through and through. He will be presenting his new book along this amazing interview. How are you doing, champ?
All good, man. Just getting out the gym, so made it in perfect time. I'm all good, real good.
You look good too, man.
Thank
So
you.
that's a good start. I know
Mhm.
it's an annoying question. I think you already heard this question uh, a lot of
Mhm.
times. But how did you saw Haney versus Ryan Garcia fight? Did
I,
Ryan took any advantage of Haney in any way possible before the fight? How do you see it as a whole?
well, I mean, at first, man, I thought that Haney was gonna win. I really thought
Yeah,
Haney was the better fighter. I thought he was gonna win, but and I thought Ryan was, mentally, I thought he was unstable. But it comes to find out, Ryan was trolling the whole world. He
yeah,
he does come from YouTube. He knows how to do that. He troll. He really did. He trolled the whole world. And he really, it's like, man, Ryan shifted boxing right now. Like with that win, he shifted not only the weight division, but he shifted boxing as a whole. He played with everybody, and I mean, look what happened. So, yeah, man, that was a crazy fight. I wasn't expecting that, but kudos to him. Hats off to him.
yeah. Sure. We saw some kind of shifting here, right,
Hmm.
in the boxing scene, but outside of boxing, right? We are not boxers. We are just we love boxing, but
Hmm.
from over there, in the eyes of an actual boxer such as you,
Hmm.
what do you see that is changing inside of boxing?
I mean, well, I see what just Ryan that is like, man, he didn't care about the belts. He didn't care about the belts. He didn't care about the weight. He didn't care about none of that stuff. So, that's like the shift. Most of us, we care about the belts. We care about the weight. We want to be professional. And Ryan, he just didn't care about that. He just went out there and he just fought, and that's all. And you know, and the thing is, Matt, Ryan has actually never been a world champion before. But he's one of the biggest. He's one of the biggest. The stars in boxing right now, without even being a world champion. So yeah, I mean, what the stuff what Ryan did is it's just like it's shifting boxing because it's like, with him, he trolled the whole world. He was pretending to be crazy. He trolled everybody. He's never been a world champion, and it seems like he doesn't care about being a world champion. And he's very, very rich. He made a lot of money, and he came in overweight. He did it on purpose. So I feel like
Yeah.
it's a shift in boxing. But the thing is, like, it's a shift in boxing, but everybody can't do that. That's the thing. Ryan can do that because he's a star outside of boxing, but everybody won't be able to do it. But he's one of the people that can do it. Same thing with Javante Davis. Javante Davis is not a champion. He's one of the biggest stars in boxing. So um I see that, I see that kind of shift in boxing I think it's a good thing for certain people because, with the social media, everybody's building themselves up these days and without boxing, and doing their things on themselves, on their own. And that's why it really didn't matter to him. It didn't matter if he's fought for a belt. It didn't matter nothing because, he already has his following, and not just from boxing, just because of him.
Did you saw some kind of revenge of some sort regarding weight
Yep.
rehydration clauses and the like,
Hmm.
and you see this fight coming in front of everyone, right? You see
Yes.
one
Yes.
fighter that actually rehydrates a lot,
Hmm.
uses a lot of rehydration clauses, and then you see someone literally from outside boxing, because Ryan is a kind of outsider right now,
Hmm.
coming to this fight, and does every does exactly what we don't expect, because just like you, we as we analyze the fight, I believed Haney would win the fight by decision, but
Hmm.
then we saw this fight.
Right.
Did you see some kind of revenge uh
Of
taken,
course. Yeah,
or
yeah,
of some
definitely. I
sort?
mean, the thing is, like, when and I don't like to speak on too much, but I guess we speaking on, the thing with me, um in my contract, he wasn't supposed to come in so heavy. He came in fighting. Now he was way, way bigger, and maybe he did IVs. I don't know. I can't prove that, but he was way bigger. And basically, Ryan did the same thing to him. The same thing he did to me, Ryan did the same thing to him. Ryan
Yeah,
didn't care about the weight. He, and he just didn't care about the weight. And so for me, both of us, the thing is, me and Devin, we both made the weight, but Devin blew up way bigger than me. He was just
yeah,
way, he was way bigger. And so Ryan, he didn't make the weight, but he did the same thing. He did it for that advantage. He did that for that advantage to blow up way more. And it was, I mean, it's the same thing. The same thing he did to me, the same thing happened to him. And it's the same thing that happened to Ryan, right? With Javante Davis. Javante Davis didn't let him blow up. And so it affected him. And, so he learned from that. So he said, I'm going to just do what I want to. So with Devin Haney, he put the weight on. And with Devin Haney, he did to me what Ryan did to him, what Javante did to Ryan. So it's
yeah,
all,
yeah,
everybody, it's just like a line, it all kind of went down the line. For my fight, he looked bigger than me, than he still looked with Ryan when he fought Ryan. I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know if he did something different. I don't know. I don't know if he did something different with me with Ryan, but when I fought him, he definitely looked bigger. His chest looked bigger, his shoulders looked bigger. With Ryan, he didn't look as big as he looked with me. So, I'm not the one to point fingers. I don't say nothing, but it seemed a little different. That's all.
Yeah, yeah, I get you, I get you. So I'm gonna ask you a very pretty inside of boxing type of question. We'll be talking about this with medical professionals regarding weight rehydration. They have
Hmm.
been telling us that for a big rehydration, like 20, 25 pounds, there must be IV involved. I'm not asking you for telling me
Hmm.
if you actually believe that, but do you see this plausible?
It's of course. Man, listen, man. Like, I never did it before, and truthfully, I never did an IV before. But it's very common. And it's illegal. You're not supposed to do it, but it's
Yeah,
very
yeah,
common. A lot of people do it. To get 20, 25 pounds, 25 pounds, you, I feel like you definitely have to get an IV. You have to be sitting in a room just getting drips and stuff like that. How can you even, it's not natural. You can't gain weight that much. But like I said, man, it's, for me, I always feel like what goes around comes around. And people know about that. Everybody that really knows about it, they can comment on it. You can't gain that much weight that fast overnight. It really is just almost impossible. You have to have something like that. So but listen, like I said, man, what goes around comes around. That's what it is.
no, I get you. I get you. You so I when we go back with the with your record and your whole career, it's great is that it's really easy to see that you are an old school fighter
Mm-hmm.
for your type that the way in which you fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're telling me just now that you wouldn't do any IV drips. I mean,
No, I don't do that.
that's an old school thing. So
Right.
that's great to see. Yeah, yeah. So let me go back even more. I would like to know a little bit more about Regis Progress. I mean, who gave you your first gloves, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanna give us a little bit of of a throwback to the people,
Mm-hmm.
both in Spanish and English, of course.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, well, I started boxing. I always liked to fight. Since I was young, I always loved to fight and stuff. Um, I actually, yeah, I did karate. I did every sport. I did karate, basketball, football, swimming, baseball. I did everything. I just never really liked none of those. Like, I like boxing, but I always was rough. Always growing up, I always had
Yeah.
the mindset I like to fight. I like to be rough. And my dad always told me, like, always learn how to defend yourself. So that's something that I kind of stuck with me. So at first, the first thing I did was karate, but karate was too, it wasn't as physical as I wanted it to be. So I really wasn't really, I didn't really like karate too much. And one day in karate, I actually, like, I hurt somebody real bad. I was sparring, and in karate you get those little bitty gloves, and I was sparring,
Yeah.
and I stopped kicking. I actually was only punching people, and I liked it. I really liked it. And I was kind of boxing. So the coach, the karate sensei, he told my dad, like, he's too rough. He needs to do something else. So then they put me in football, and I played football for a while. And then as football went on, as the time went on with football, then I started liking. Me and my friends used to always fight and getting the boxing gloves and stuff. And then I played football in high school, and I was always fighting in high school. In the gloves, not just fighting. In the gloves and stuff. I used to always fight. And so then, one day the football coach, he saw me fighting, and he pulled me to the side. He was like, "Man, look, I don't think you have a future in football, but you might have one in boxing." And after that, I was already feeling like I quit football, and I went to the gym. I think the next week or 2 weeks or something, I went to the boxing gym, and I kind of just fell in love with it. And then after that, I was still this was my 10th grade year in high school. This was in New Orleans, and so after that, I started going to the boxing gym, and but my grades started dropping. So my mama, she took me out because my grades was dropping. And then I went back in the summertime, and that's when right in the summertime. So we get out of school around May, and we go back in August. So I just only boxed for those little 3 4 months or something like that. And then after that, Hurricane Katrina hit, and so
Yeah,
then I had to relocate to Houston. I came to Houston, then I went back. Then I went to Mississippi. Then I went to Slidell, and then I actually eventually came back to Houston, and then and I've been here since.
that's crazy. That's a hell of a story, man.
Yeah,
So
that's the short version.
yeah, I
the
got you.
the
I got you.
long the long version will be in here.
Oh,
One of
let's talk about that a little bit. Come
So
on.
yeah, this is it right here. This is my book right here. It's out. It's out right now. Let me put it in the camera a little better. Yeah, the book is actually out right now. So we got a lot of stories and stuff like that. More versions is in that.
That's a big one, also, right? It's a thick book. I like it.
Yeah, it's a
So
thick book. We got a lot, and this is actually this is just one of the copies. This is the final copy, but this it'll
yeah,
look like this, but this is we the final copy is out now. This is one of the proofread copies right now, so that's why it's a little thinner, but it's still is a little thicker. It's more pages.
nah, that's crazy, man. So everyone that can buy the book, go and get it. So
Go and
a
get it.
lot
It's
of
on Amazon.
yeah,
Go get it. Go leave a review. It's on Amazon right now. It's actually one of the best sellers on Amazon right now. And we gonna be pushing it. We gonna do a lot of things. Book reviews. All the people that pre-ordered, they have special merch, and I'm signing all my pre-orders and stuff. So we getting all that stuff out this week, and yeah, and it's going good. And then we're gonna do all kinds of we're gonna do a lot of like I said, what you call that, the when you going to bookstores and talking and doing all those things. So yeah, I'm gonna have
yeah.
all that going.
That's amazing, man. I love it. I love it that you're like giving it a lot and another voice in boxing, right?
Yes,
Outside of the ring.
right.
So are you that kind of fighter, that kind of boxer that actually watches boxing? Because there's a lot of boxers that don't actually watch boxing. Do you like watching box?
I love boxing. I'm not gonna lie, I did stop for a while, but I'm back watching boxing and stuff like that again. I used
Yeah,
to watch a lot of old school. For me, like you said, I'm an old school type of fighter. I love like old school fights. I love learning from the legends. One of my favorite my why I kind of got into I love like Mike Tyson coming up,
yeah,
and
man.
then I got into Roberto Duran. Duran is like probably one of my favorite fighters ever. And then Pernell Whitaker, Marvin Hagler. I mean, I just like I like all those guys, and I'm a big time student of the game. If you see my arm, I have all these fighters. This
Yeah,
is starting from Henry Armstrong up here is Joe Lewis. You have Ray Robinson. You have Muhammad Ali on the other side. Jack Johnson, Marvin Hagler. So I mean, I'm just a student of the game. I love boxing.
I love it. So the reason why I was asking you is to ask you about the division right now, the 140. How do you
Mhm.
see it with all this
It's
commotion
hot.
regarding Ryan? Outside
It's
of the
hot,
ring.
man. It's hot.
Yeah,
It's a real hot division right now. And I had a chance probably like 3 years ago to go to 147, but I was like, man, no, I'm not going to 147. I'm gonna stay at 140 my whole career. First off, I want to do that because one of my idols, Marvin Hagler, did it. He stayed at middleweight his whole career. He stayed at 160 his
yeah.
whole career. And to do that, you have to be super disciplined. And that's one thing I am. I'm very, very disciplined. I just finished training. I don't have no fights coming up, but I make sure I train every single day, no matter what. The only time I don't train is if I'm traveling. But when I'm home, I mean I train every single day, no matter what. When I'm camp or no camp, and it's just yeah, just to stay disciplined, and I feel like that'll be my legacy. And somebody told me a long time ago, he was like, man, I don't think you need to go to 147. Your legacy is at 140. So I already became a champion. Then I became a two-time champion 3 years later. So now the goal is to become a three-time champion, and I feel like that'll definitely etch my name in the history books.
So that's a excellent topic because I just wanted to talk about this particular thing because a lot
Hmm.
of fighters right now are looking for undisputed titles or unifying belts, but
Hmm.
Is it harder to do like Golovkin did, to do like also Hager did, which is like maintaining one belt and fighting every the best ones in that company maybe,
Mm-hmm.
like
Right.
you know, Golovkin just stood in 160 and stayed there for the
Mm-hmm.
whole of his career. Is it harder to maintain one belt than to get the whole division, like to get the undisputed belts? What's your position in that?
It all depends, man. I mean, I think it's definitely hard to maintain one belt and always have your and always keep getting your mandatories.
Yeah,
That's definitely hard to do. Instead, and really staying at that same weight, staying at your same weight your whole career, that's definitely hard to do. That's what I'm saying. You have to be very disciplined on, not just inside the ring, but outside the ring. You have to be disciplined to do that. But I mean, it's I think it's hard to become undisputed just because not because of the fights. Obviously, the fights would be hard when they have champions, other champions, but just because of it's so much business that goes on with the boxing.
exactly.
It's a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of they call it size of the street and all that type of stuff. It's just hard to you might have different companies with different fighters and they don't want to fight and they do this and so it is man. I think it's it's definitely hard to it's hard to do the undisputed. Unified, when you fight for one more other belt, that's not that hard. But when you talk about undisputed, trying to get four belts, I think that's it's hard to do that.
So it is not like before, like it's just talent that gets you there now, right? It's you need to be popular to say it in to use one word. You need to be known outside of boxing, like just Ryan did. But a lot of
Right.
people also does this right now, right? I
Hmm.
mean, you need to have that clout on you.
Yeah, for sure, man. You definitely it's like you definitely have to. I mean, I'm not gonna say you need it, but it definitely helps. It's like
Mm,
why and you gotta think about it from the promoter's aspect, like the more popular, the more money you make. The more money you make, the bigger because you have to pay for the belts. It's 3%
yeah.
every time for the belt. So the more money you make, it's 3%. So it's like why would I give somebody a shot that's not that popular when I give somebody a shot that's popular and they're gonna bring more dollars and that makes more money for me. So that's kind of I mean that's just the age we live in. You do have to do that. You have to kind of be popular outside of the ring and popular on your own.
I love it. I'm loving this conversation, man.
Mhm.
I'm hoping you like it too. I don't want to
Yep.
take so much time out of you, but
Mhm.
to talk about boxing as a whole, do you have any fights coming up that are actually like really interesting outside of overhyped sensations everywhere
Mhm.
and
Right.
in this sport of ours?
I think one of the biggest ones I want to see is the undisputed heavyweight with Tyson Fury
Yeah,
and Usyk. I definitely want to see that, man. I'm really excited to see that. I want to see who's gonna be crowned, undisputed. That's a big fight. I really want to see that. I want to see Canelo. I want to see Crawford make a comeback. And I'm interested in, I'm definitely interested in my division. Matias is fighting Power. I'm interested to see who's gonna win that. That'll be a good fight and you have Jose Ramirez. He's coming back too, and I want to see what he's gonna do. So, it's a lot of fights. It's a lot of fights that I'm kind of I'm interested in.
would you like to come to go again with the Jaguar with Ramirez? Would you like that fight again?
Of course, I never fought Ramirez.
Never fought Ramirez.
I
Sorry,
never
sorry.
fought Ramirez. No, no, no. I
Yeah,
never
yeah.
fought. I fought. I don't. I
Because,
fought.
you
No,
know,
I never fought Ramirez before. Not
I've
that
heard a lot
Ramirez.
of
No,
people saying,
we
yeah,
never
yeah.
fought. We went back and forth for a long time, but we actually never fought before. But we were supposed to fight because along this was 2018.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, he was ranked number one. I was ranked number two. Amir Mile was ranked number three, and Victor Postar was ranked number four. So what the WBC did, they put number one and number three together for the belt. And then they put number two and number four together for the interim belt. So I had a problem with that. It's like, why wouldn't you put number one versus number two instead of number one versus number three? So he was a champion before me, but I was right there in line. And then I actually won. Then I went a different route. I went to the tournament and I won a championship too. And
Yeah, yeah.
and he kind of went his route. Everybody kind of went their own route and stuff like that. But yeah, we never fought, but we always had, we had that little history. So I think one day
Yeah.
we definitely should fight one day.
I hope that fight comes up. It's a really nice fight, actually.
Hmm.
So one of the last questions that I have for you, man, is: do you see boxing like a lot of more overhyped or hyped up boxers, more than just actually like raw talent outside?
Uh, and it depends. I mean, because we thought that about Ryan Garcia, and he proved
Yeah,
that he
sure.
was a. You know, I thought that myself. I was wrong. I thought that myself. I thought that Ryan wasn't that good. I said, man, if I ever fight Ryan, I'll beat him up easily. And I still feel like I'm gonna beat Ryan, but it'll he's a better fighter than I thought he was for sure.
Mm.
But it all depends. I just feel like in boxing, everybody just doesn't fight. You know, they just don't fight the big fights they probably need to be in. You talk about like Javante, and that he's one of the biggest names in the sport. And he can. I think he could fight better competition. I think he can. He should have fought like Devin Haney, and he should have fought like a TL. He should have. He right now he's definitely fight like a Shakur Stevenson. So, but all those guys are still good. They still are really good, but they just it depends how you look at it.
Yeah, they don't actually fight the fights. I mean,
Hmm.
or they're waiting for to make even more money in the future. Maybe I don't know. I hope
Yeah.
for that at least.
Right, right. Mhm,
So one last question, and then I'll leave you.
mhm,
I'll let you to your world.
mhm.
So, what do you think about Pitbull Cruz?
I want to fight him. I think he had a good um showing against Rolly, but I felt like he was gonna beat Rolly anyway. But at the same time, that's a fight that I embrace. That's a fight that I want. So maybe we can get it one day. I don't know. But I think that he's on they say the other side of the street. He's not with the promotion company I'm with. So I don't know how easy it would to get that belt, but I would definitely try to get it. Try to gun for it.
Yeah, love it, love it. So, any last message to whoever you want, man? Of course,
Oh man, you already
let
know my
everyone see the
message
book.
right now. Right now, the only message I got is right here. Y'all go. The book is out. My book is out right now. So just go. Yeah, go grab that book right now. That's the only message I got right now. That's it. My book
I
is
love
out.
it, man.
Go grab that. That's it.
Thank you very much, Regis. I hope you're doing well, and I wish you a really good week, man. Thank you.
All right, man. Yep. Thank you, bro.